how about them tops, son?
All day, SEC boys. SEC, they supposed to be SEC. Where's the other, baby?
You're listening to the Red Out Podcast.
Welcome into another Red Out Podcast. I'm Jake.
Hey, Devin in the house, and tonight we've got Jared. How's it going, buddy?
I'm good. Happy Wednesday, my dudes. 2019. Let's go.
Woo!
Hump day, yeah.
My
That's
voice
never
is
gonna
still
get
kind of recovering from the Wisconsin game. It's still not 100%, so I'm hoping I don't sound like Rick Stansberry with the voice crack every 5 seconds, but we'll see.
I just love...
No, Jared, you don't sound like Stansberry.
I don't...
Was that Bill Clinton or Stansberry?
But you know...
That is Bill Clinton.
It's like years ago that the WK... And I've talked about it before. The WK women's coach, basketball, who always looked like she was crying in post games.
And Ray Harper and his purple nose. That's just his thing.
Yeah, and Ray Harper and his purple nose. And...
something cows.
Yeah, something... And it was like hyphenated cows.
Something... Oh, my
If
gosh.
I hadn't asked you, you could
Yeah, I know,
now he's got to
right?
find it. But no, I mean, it's just funny because Coach Stans like always sounds. I mean, it could be like 2 weeks. It could be the off season, and he sounds like he just screamed at like a Metallica concert for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Like right after the game when we played Wisconsin, I was about that bad because I sat with Matt in the student section, and that was wild. That was fun though.
Oh, no doubt. I remember working with Matt, and it was wild. I wasn't even near him, and it was like, you knew where he was.
Did he have the baby
Mary
with
Taylor.
her? Mary Taylor?
Cows.
Mary Taylor Cows. Oh,
Yes.
okay, there you go.
2002 to 2012.
Yes, she always, like, in the post-game interview, she sounded like she had just cried for 2 hours.
Yes.
Because her face was really red.
Yeah.
And, like...
I don't think she wore a lot of makeup either. I mean...
Well, would you if you're coaching a ball game?
No, I mean, you're going to be sweating and everything
Yeah,
else.
I wouldn't.
No, Matt did not have a kid at that point.
I meant with Jared. Smart. I meant with Jared at the game. I was like, did he have the baby girl in the headphones?
Oh, my gosh.
With the ear protection, because like that's the WQ dad level I aspire to be.
What was that? The unnecessarily rude?
It's rude and inappropriate. I say
Rude and inappropriate.
I say that to my wife all the time. Like she'll do something, and I'm like, that's rude and inappropriate.
That's right.
And she just looks at me. She's like, "Is that for your podcast?" I was like, "You're darn right, it's for my podcast."
That's right. You should listen more, Sarah.
She should. Sarah, if you're listening, go download this to pump our numbers.
Yes. Oh, actually,
Please.
our numbers aren't doing too bad. I mean, last week we had 33 downloads, so
Not too bad.
completely fine with the numbers.
Well, no, it's funny. I have a friend of mine who was initially her friend who knows nothing about sports. She only reads the article because she thinks they're funny. Like I was like, hey, because that was one of my New Year's resolutions last year was to write more.
Yeah.
And it's just like, just send me links to your articles. So like 1 view a week is definitely Annabeth, who's like, I don't understand what red shirt means, but I like how you roasted them.
I love that when we posted our first video this year, she was the first one that commented. It was
Yeah,
like,
because she's like one of our only
"Yay!"
subscribers
Yeah.
on YouTube.
Yeah, at that point, she was
Yeah.
the only subscriber we had on YouTube.
Yeah, it was awesome.
YouTube was just kind of a medium for us. I mean,
Yeah, honestly, because everything else, like podcast-wise, was like too expensive, and we couldn't save a bunch of it.
Yeah, so
it just wasn't very good. So we're like, no, screw it, we'll shell out the money and pay for it.
yeah. I mean, at some point, you kind of have to bite the bullet
You
as
get
far
what
as
you
that
pay
goes
for.
with
Yeah.
that. Right now, we are, for our listeners who want to know, last year, I don't even remember what our numbers were, but
God, bad.
we're at like 660 total downloads right now. So,
Yeah, it's
fun fact for you all.
But national winners and losers, there's only one real national game to talk about in college athletics, and that's the football playoff.
Yeah, and you fell on one of two sides. Those who cheered for Alabama and those who just jumped on the bandwagon of Clemson.
I was going to say those
And
who cheered
wanted
against
Bama
Nick
to
Saban.
lose, yeah. I wanted Bama to lose. I'm ready for their dynasty to end because, I mean, I'm a Dolphins fan and I'm still kind of bitter about Nick Saban experiment with Miami, so I've never really been that fond of him. But
Hey, man, that was the last time he lost by 21 points or more.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, that was...
Yeah.
I mean, as far as like college winners and losers go, that's definitely true. But I just want to say, like, it would be bad to not say it at all. But I feel so bad. Like, national loser would have to be Cody Parkey, the kicker for the
Yes.
Chicago Bears. I feel bad for the guy. But the winner
Yeah.
would be the goalpost in Soldier Field because
That's
he
right.
off of it twice.
Ding.
You could never try that again if you try it.
Yeah.
Never again.
I want to see... I'm pretty sure Facebook had a troll thing out there where people tried to see if they could hit the field goal, the upright, and the middle post. And they would win like $1 million. And I was like, that was probably the greatest thing I've ever heard.
I don't know if it's Dogfish Head or who. What's the
Big Cat?
No, it's a beer out of Chicago. I can't remember now. But anyways, they're offering, if you can make that field goal that he missed, they'll give you a year's worth of beer free.
That's hilarious. It's funny that you know that, but
I saw it on Twitter.
My thing is with that guy's got to move out of Chicago. That poor guy.
Fine.
Are you kidding me?
There's worse things to have done. He's a multi-millionaire. It's fine.
I wouldn't come out of my house for at least 2 weeks.
That's fine.
Me and the groundhog.
You should go to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Philadelphia.
Yeah. They booed Santa. Come on.
Yeah, that'd be a great one.
You're right.
Philly, the city. I'll say when I went to Philly, it wasn't. I'll tell you the worst thing about Philly was the drivers.
Yeah.
Because everybody drove like they wanted to kill you. Which New York and Jersey were the same way.
Yeah, I can understand that.
But on the street, people weren't like super mean. It wasn't like,
I'm walking here.
yeah, no.
No, okay.
No. People were meaner in Canada than they were anywhere else.
Really?
Yeah, Canada.
That's so ironic.
That's such a misnomer. Canadians are not that nice. I got flipped off on the interstate like 15 different times, and I was not going below the speed limit. I was doing 5 over.
I don't believe that.
I was doing 5 over. It's hard to control in the Durango.
Is it miles per hour or kilometers that you were going?
I switched it to kilometers because the car had a thing where I could switch it digitally. So I switched it because I was just driving. I was doing like 75, like and my co-pilot was like, "Hey Jake, it's like 60 through here, right?" And I was like, "No, it's set." And there, she's like, "No." She's like kilometers. I was like, "Oh, I should slow down a little bit."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How do you know that wasn't an American who flipped you off though? That was.
I mean, they had Canadian plates.
They could have rented it from a Canadian.
And
place.
the other guy was chugging maple syrup.
You don't know that. It's so full of crap.
He had like 16 beavers just in the back of his truck. It was weird.
Yes. By the way, greatest thing is How I Met Your Mother, the Beaver song.
The Beaver song? I don't remember the Beaver song.
You don't remember the Beaver song?
No.
Okay, for our listeners, look up the Beaver song. Greatest thing ever. So Bama Clemson, Clemson the big winner, sorry. And all the bandwagon people who had on 2 jerseys, because they did.
They just take it off.
They're just like, I was cheering for Clemson the whole time. And I'm like, yeah, right. Of course, I had no stake in either team. Don't really care.
I just want Saban to lose.
I
He's a turd.
Agreed. I'm a Jake on that.
Let me tell you the coolest thing. I found that Clemson has a cemetery.
They have a cemetery.
Yes.
They
have a cemetery right beside their field house, and every big game they play, bowl game-wise or whatever, they will put the other team's name on the headstone, and they put the score underneath it.
I thought you meant a legit cemetery.
That's actually
with
really
proper
cool.
dead people in
That
it.
is the coolest thing ever.
Devin, you need to hook up Western and try to do something like that.
I don't work at headstones, so no, that's expensive as all get
Well, you
out.
probably know some people, though.
I got some people.
You
who-
get finder's fee, man.
Yeah, right. That would actually be really cool. Of course, it's a bad thing for Western. We'd probably have to be in somebody else's cemetery.
Yeah.
Georgia, Southern, or State, whichever it is.
Oh, Georgia State from the other year. Yeah, that makes me sad. Let's not talk about that.
Okay.
Let's talk about how great it is that Saban lost, and not only did he lose, but he got his brains absolutely beat in. And what about that fake field goal?
Is that not the worst thing you've ever heard in
That
your
was
entire
bad.
life?
That's bad. Like,
Just their
there's
specialty. I will never understand this about Alabama. They can recruit the greatest player for basically every position in college football, but if you have them try to recruit a punter or a kicker, they are terrible. I mean, the kick six lives in infamy forever. They've had several instances where they've missed field goals or did some type of stupid special team screw up. And I don't know. Like, it's amazing how much they've been screwed over because of just special team stuff.
But like
I don't
that-
know if it's their coordinator or if they just don't recruit that or what.
But like the fake field goal, they're set up. I mean, like they go for first off, Bama's kicker can't make that kick, as you just indicated. For some reason, they don't know Australians exist. Apparently,
Yeah. Well, that's field goal too. That's not punt. But yeah.
Well, yeah, well, still, you get somebody with a leg, and then so they go for the. They came for so Clemson set up and just like a normal base defense,
Yeah.
like they're going to throw the ball or run the
Yeah,
ball,
and that was my thing.
and then Saban sees it and is like, "Nah, this will be fine."
No, that's my thing though. Why didn't they either call timeout, which I don't know this quite the situation.
They
at
had
the
a chance to call a timeout.
They
or
could have called
audible out of
timeout.
it.
They could have audibled out of it. They could have, the kick, the timeout would have been the best play there.
Yeah.
You see that they've got them. They've got linebackers on the outside. Granted, they thought that their offensive line, whatever, could have got the push there.
Which is hilarious
to
because
give
they were
them-
getting dominated all game.
But there were 6 yards.
yeah,
You had to get 6. If you had to get 2 or 3, granted, that's okay, but not 6.
yeah, it's just
I was
wild.
like, no.
It's just so funny.
No.
So yeah, I spent a lot of time. I like seeing Saban lose. I like seeing him try to defend his boneheadedness
With his Coke.
with his Coke. He's got to be sponsored by Coke, right?
He has to be at that
because
point.
he sits it and like adjusts it so you can see the label all pretty, and it's almost never open until like halfway through the presser.
Yeah.
He like sits it there up there and then he just swigs it.
And then he gets really angry and his face turns red and he's just like, rah, rah.
Yeah.
I don't know, so quit asking.
That's right.
I love all those memes the morning after though, where they're like, "Coach, when you gonna audible out of this? I don't know, so quit asking."
Yeah.
Yes, excellent.
So since we last talked, when was the Charlotte game? When was that?
I don't know, victory. It was great.
I know,
It was a
Charlotte
good
game
job.
was
We actually
awesome.
blew somebody out for one.
Yeah,
Actually, I got the schedule right there, but I can't read it.
It just the thing. Go ahead.
About everyone that played in the Charlotte game had a 3. That's pretty good. I mean, Boo had 1.
Yeah, Moo had 1. I thought that was great.
On the board, he got 1. Omer had 4, along with Jared Savage. But I mean, 3s were right, and finally, we just need that every night.
Well, see, my thing was, and that was something that I said in the ODU preview, was I was really scared that we had fallen in love with the 3, even though that's not how our offense works.
Yeah.
I mean, some nights you just do go off from 3, though I will say, in the 2 best wins we've had so far in Wisconsin and St. Mary's, they did really shoot the ball well from 3, which all comes down to ball movement and getting it in the basket first. Like, let's be clear here. It doesn't just have Jake Omer covered shooting contested 3s all night.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at it, I mean, Hollingsworth's he's our top point scorer per game with 15 points. You got Bassey's he's shooting 65%, which, I mean,
Bassey got a 3 the other night. That was
crazy.
awesome.
And then you got Bassey's getting about 9 rebounds a game.
You know, he has more blocks now than, like, 70-some-odd actual Division I schools total.
Really?
Like, yeah.
I know he's got 2.5 he averages, but...
Yeah, on the season, he is, like, a top, I guess, 12 now blocker on the season. And that's not just, like, freshman. That's, like, everybody playing currently. And he's one of the top freshman blockers in the country.
That's awesome. I mean,
that was Thursday the 3rd was when we played Charlotte.
So that was last week. Okay.
Yeah, so we haven't talked about that yet.
Yeah, I mean, Charlotte game was just a pure domination. That's the happier game we can talk about this week.
Yes.
I mean, Charlotte just has that John Davis guy, and that's about it.
That's
honestly.
literally who they have.
And he still went off and had a pretty decent game.
I mean, he had a heck of a game.
And my boy Jared the Savage had 13 points with 4 3-pointers. So you gotta love that.
Well, it was awesome because that was such a balanced effort. I mean, like, you know, like the joke goes, like, I'm pretty sure they even put in some of the managers to get some minutes because the entire bench essentially played, which you want to do.
Well, those little kids that sweep, they came in and
the
played
towel
for a little
kids,
while.
that sweat up. Yeah, it was good.
I mean, in the first half, Charlotte had one lead, basically. They were leading 10-7. And then they kind of went back and forth for a little bit, and then Western just left them.
Yeah, and like right before halftime, it was like, well, this is where you're starting to like distance yourself.
Yep, 34-23 was.
I mean, Charlotte's just a bad team. They're just not a good team.
No.
And we'll talk about, you know, not maybe good teams that maybe have got to win when we talk about Marshall here in a little bit because they only beat Charlotte by 1 the other day. They let Charlotte score 84 points on them.
Oh my gosh! So that seems like there is no defensive, prowess.
That's
as
like
far as
Houston Rockets level defense, right?
Yeah,
there,
right.
So.
Like,
do they travel as much as the Harden guy does?
Probably not.
Probably not.
I just love how people who are fans of the NBA defend his traveling.
There's no way to defend that.
I mean,
I think it's hilarious, though. All the memes that they've made out of him with that double step back.
Oh, my gosh. Yes, the memes with his double step back are hilarious. Did you see Steph Curry try to do that the other night?
Yeah, and he put up, like, James Harden's number, like the 1-3 or whatever.
Yeah.
Did he really?
Yeah, he did the double step back, and they called him for traveling.
And
And
he
he was
put up his
like,
number.
and he's like, he did 3-1 on his shirt. And they were like, no, just get out of here.
That's
just
pretty
get out of
funny.
here.
I like that.
Looks like Western shot about 50%. And then for 3, they shot 42.9. So that's basically every 2 shots you hit 1. So,
That's
I mean, I'll take
wild.
that.
Yeah. And again, it's out of character. And I just, like... I mean, maybe at some point during this season, like, towards the conference tournament or whatever, they'll be averaging, like, 41% from 3. And I'll be like, okay, this is a 3-point shooting team. Cool.
Yeah, but
I just don't think that's
But
in
the
their
new
character.
tournament rules apply, though, don't they?
Well, the new... So,
the new
sort of,
tournament.
the
So
new
if
season rules. So
Yeah.
the second half of the conference season, whoever, depending on what Western's record is, their top or bottom half, the top half's going to play the top half some more, the bottom half's going to play some bottom half some more.
Yep.
And that's to get better tournament seeding. Now, this year, based on wins and losses, I mean,
it's
North
rough.
Texas didn't play anybody in the non-con.
Yeah.
So unless they, completely run through conference play and get some big wins in the conference tournament, I don't know how they'd get an at-large because they're gonna have a couple conference. I mean, I know they've only got one loss so far, but they didn't play anybody.
Yeah, and they're 3-0
They
as
played
far as
Oklahoma. Oklahoma was their loss.
Yeah, Oklahoma was their
it's
loss.
Not very aggressive.
I mean, they
No.
played. I mean, you can't even name some of these non-coms. Like
Indiana State.
well, yeah. I mean, that's why I didn't say that we were better than them because they at least could beat Indiana State.
See, it's so frustrating because Western has more Power 5 wins than they do against the Missouri Valley Conference, and I'm just like, really?
Yeah, Western has
Really,
more Power
guys?
5 wins than 30 or 40 actual Power 5 teams right now.
It's just so
It's
depressing
so
right
annoying.
now.
Yeah, this team, I'm so salty. I'm just that ODU loss, which we can get to. I'm so salty.
Yeah, the ODU loss is just so... to lead basically the entire game up until, 11 minutes to go in the second is just so depressing.
That's the noise. Ah, God.
21-0. They started off 21-0. That's a
Yep.
football score. That's a 3-touchdown lead. And you go, and as Jake always says, pee down your leg, and you
I
still
thought that's
end up
become my
losing.
saying.
I know, right?
Pee down your leg.
That's terrible.
It's rude and inappropriate.
Terrible. And that
Charles Barkley style.
I was going to say,
Yeah,
isn't that Charles
yeah,
Barkley?
it's Barkley.
Terrible.
It's just terrible.
Western had better field goal percentage. They were just shy of the 3-point percentage. They just had more turnovers, and they had less rebounds.
That's what it said. If we lose the rebounding battle, we're going to... Which, by the way, we can talk about that for a second. First off, don't know how to say their guard's last name. I don't know if it's Stith or Stith. But that kid, who's been there 900 years, their redshirt senior guard, had 12 rebounds.
Told you.
Their redshirt.
They misspelled that kid's name.
They misspelled
Yeah,
it.
ESPN misspelled this kid's name. I know I'm right. Isn't it Carver? Yeah, Carver.
And they spelled it
And
wrong
they
in the recap.
Caver. That's hilarious.
That's awesome.
Stith and Caver help Old Dominion rally past Western.
I just... that guard should not be getting 12 rebounds in a game.
What is going on there?
No, and that's why I said, coming into this, that kind of my takeaway was turnovers and toughness, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of and that's what Coach said, that's what everybody said, turnovers and toughness, that's what it was. The rebounding, with Bassey being down there, that's even if those, and it's not like he had a bunch, he was getting his own misses.
Yeah.
Those are defensive rebounds
Yeah.
that we're not fighting for.
He led in points, which is really crazy for me that the center is leading in points, and he led in rebounds for Western.
So he only had 2 offensive rebounds.
Part of me was wondering if he was going to lead in the assist department as
Yeah,
well.
right. If he's gonna, which again, if he super duper dominates and we get a win, that's cool. But we didn't, and he didn't.
No.
He played well, but at the same time, if we're not gonna have, again, if we don't have a balanced effort and we can't get contributions from everybody on the floor, it doesn't really matter if one player does really well.
I think we just need to take a step back and just relax. I agree this is really frustrating, and I am completely frustrated out of my gourd right now with a 21-0 lead with 12:49 to go. They finally scored 2 points.
Jared, what do you think happened? What happened?
It's just the same thing. This was a tweet that I put. I was the one that was tweeting out the game for the towel rack when I was watching all of this. I said, quote, "A part of me wants to believe WKU will keep their foot on the gas, but another knows how the early part of the season has gone," unquote. I know that with a young team, they're going to get that big lead. They're going to get up a little bit, especially in the first half instead of the second half. If it's the second half and you're up 21, that's a little bit different than the first half. There's still a lot of basketball left when you're in the first half and you have a lead like that. I knew that Old Dominion was going to come back with the run. That's just given. They're just not going to get shut out in a basketball game. You don't ever see that happening. But I knew they were going to get a run together. But it's just sloppy ball handling, terrible passes, just some of the same things that we've already seen in other games that have been lost on the road like that this year. I thought that Bearden should have came in a little bit earlier, but I mean, he's played 8 minutes and didn't register a single stat. So, I mean, it's not like he really made that much of a difference, but I mean, it's better than having 4 turnovers like Banton did in like a 5-minute stretch, which is kind of bad. But, I mean, it's just youth. It goes back to the immaturity of this team. There's only one senior, and he's played very limited minutes up to this point. So, I mean, I wish that they could have held on, but a loss like that's going to wake them up a little bit and show them that they still have to play 40 minutes, and especially when there's still a full second half left, you have to show up.
I mean, the bench really didn't do anything.
No.
I mean, if you
that's another issue too, is getting these other people to come in and actually contribute. But I mean, that's part of Stan's too. He didn't really go that deep either, so he didn't really give him much of a chance.
Yeah, well, I mean, your minutes played were 37, 39, 31. Hollingsworth never came out of the game.
Yeah.
He played 40 full minutes, and then Banton played 31.
Yeah, but I mean, on the bench, you got Smith with 3, Bearden with 8, Omer with 9, and Gramble with 2, and none of them got points. Well, I take that back. Smith is 1 for 2.
They're not really going to be able to get much time to score points if they're only in there for 2 minutes. So,
yeah,
they don't really give much of an opportunity.
That's one of the ones that's kind of made me sad. Is I thought Smith was going to be better than he is currently. Now, I know he hasn't had a lot of run. He's had a few games where he's come in and been able to be more than 5,000 a pulse, but I've been surprised that he A, hasn't got more run in games, and B, when he has gotten run, he hasn't produced as much.
Just looking at ODU, they actually utilize their bench a lot, it seems. Cover, which I can't decide if it's Cover or Carver, because this is the second time they've changed the spelling. He had 38 minutes, Stith had 38 minutes. Well, see, there's a Carver and then there's a Carver.
So
now
I'm
so confused. I am so confused now. And then Green had 32. And then you got Wade off the bench with 25 and Kith off the bench with 21. And then you got 2 starters with 7 minutes.
Yeah, first off, that's pretty wild. The second thing is this ODU coming in this game, very experienced team, a lot of geriatric dudes running around. Yeah, pretty much, but they can ball. And it makes me really sad, too, because we talk about ball movement and we talk about bad passing and like careless ball handling. And I think that's all a mental product of the lead, because if you look at the St. Mary's game, if you look at the Wisconsin game, those were games in which ball movement and turnovers were not an issue, where good passing was what got Western to win the game. Because all that
with the St. Mary's game, though, I mean, the last 2 minutes of that were a disaster as far as trying to inbound the ball. There was a bunch of turnovers in it, but the Wisconsin game was perfect. They were able to handle that extremely well, I thought. But, I mean, even in the St. Mary's game, they still kind of struggled in those last few minutes. If St. Mary's would have hit that 3 and sent it into overtime, we would have lost.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, too, is that they fell apart right at the end, which, again, is kind of odd. Why would you...
It's a maturity issue. You got to keep your foot on the gas.
Suck it up, boys.
Yeah.
If it's a mental thing, it's not that you sprain an ankle. If it's a mental thing, just stay mentally tough. Which I don't know how you teach that. I don't know if it's the...
It's just it's getting them to keep their foot on the gas and to keep going after them. It's almost like, hey, we're beating them 100-0, and it's like, so what? Keep running it up. Who cares?
Well, and that's the thing too is I always say there are only a few schools where I really want to run up the score. Old Dominion is not one of them. However,
they're getting that way for me.
Are they? I don't really care. I get most guys don't care.
Probably that too.
The apathy reigns supreme with me in most aspects of my life. Marshall and MTSU,
yeah.
I wanted to run the score up
I don't care if we're playing chess against Marshall or
Yeah,
TSU. Right. It's like, take all his pieces. He doesn't need anything. Let's
Third
go.
queen, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, you got your next queen. Let's go, son.
Yeah, no, I deplore Marshall. I mean, I don't deplore Marshall. I deplore MTSU. Don't like Marshall.
Yeah, Marshall's not the team that I just... Yeah,
Yeah, they're fine.
That's like people... When we were discussing the rivalries, I just don't... Marshall's not that for me.
Clear number 2 for me. Clear number 2.
Yes. I hate the Mutts first and foremost. Jared, what is the rivalry like for you?
With Marshall.
Well, I mean, with Marshall, like, I still remember the game that started all of this.
Yeah.
I mean, the 2014 season, when they were ranked and undefeated, we go in there. Like, there was a bunch of pushing and shoving at the beginning of that game, and that was, like, the very first time that we ever played them in the conference.
I love that
just kind of,
story.
like, was that initial just kind of hatred out of nowhere that no one was really expecting. Like, I know that Western, I mean, we were really good that year, too. We wanted to make a statement. And we did. It was 67-66, never forget. And it was that 2-point conversion, I think, that we got that won it. And I know that they hated us so much after that. I remember how salty every single person in the state of West Virginia that cares about Marshall was on the internet after we beat them. They were saying so many terrible things about
I love
us
how Jared just, like...
how we spoiled their year. So, I mean... And ever since then, it's just kind of been pitching it back and forth at each other because, I mean, you know how Western fans are. I mean, like, they're pretty critical anyways. So, especially when you're already starting to stir up something, you know they're going to jump into that. So, I mean, that's sort of how that happened, at least from my perspective.
I just thought it was funny how Jared qualified that statement. He continued to pare down the people that are, it's like the people that care about the people in the state of West Virginia, okay,
that care
about Marshall, okay, who are on the internet. It's like, all right, it's West Virginia. There's 30 of them people.
yeah. Out of the entire state of West Virginia, the population is this. The people that care for Marshall are this. And then the ones that have internet.
Yeah, then they have that. Well, yeah, that's definitely going in the article. No, I tell you though, like. So this mayor, I heard I heard an interview with the so didn't Western steal Marshall's running back coach a couple years back, Jared? Didn't they hire a running back coach from Marshall?
Coach? I mean, maybe. I don't really remember completely. I think that we flipped one of the recruits. Wasn't it Q Baker? Didn't we get him to flip?
Which would make sense. And we did flip him.
I think you're right.
Anyways, I heard it was the Marshall running back coach, and he told a story, or Jeff Brom said that in an interview a few years ago that this is what this cat said, and he said that game, prior to the game, Brom was like, yeah, I told him, go pick a fight, like Braveheart style, like go pick a fight, because he wanted to get in their heads, which Brom does, right? He wants his guys to play like convicts, and I agree. So the Western guys, that's what he said. He said, I got him to go get Chippy, and we picked a fight. We got to pushing and shoving. And that running back coach said, yeah, actually, when that happened, he said, that's when I knew that we stood a real chance to lose this game. That was when we lost the game, because we stopped thinking.
Yep.
We made mental mistakes throughout the game and, could not close. And he said that was what, he said, honestly, that, him saying that, is really funny, because that's what costs us the game.
It is. I mean, and you get more emotional, and you let... little stupid things happen, and you get more penalties. A lot of things happen when you are not keeping your composure.
I love it.
Yeah, I
play that game.
Love it when
just
you do
win.
that kind
It's
of stuff.
all about the dubs. I do not care.
Completely good with that.
Now, I don't know how you guys feel, but this is kind of a weird story for me. But, Marshall football, I don't really stand, but Marshall basketball, I kind of respect them a whole lot because the only opposing team, ever meeting any of their players or coaches in Diddle Arena has always been Marshall, just by chance. It's so weird. The first time or second time we ever played Marshall in Diddle Arena in basketball when we joined CUSA, Dan Tony was actually talking to the student section about how bad the officiating was. I mean, we all thought it was hilarious, but it was back before the new renovations to where you can't walk over by the other team's tunnel anymore where their locker room is. But I did. And, he was just standing out there. They had beaten us. They got, a last-second three out of nowhere, and they wound up winning that game. And I saw him. It's hey, good game. Y'all be careful heading back, that kind of stuff. And then last year, their center that they had that was supposed to be really good, he, sprayed his ankle or something. And my mom lost her phone, and I was trying to help her find that in Diddle Arena, so I was in there for a while. So when I was leaving, I actually went out the same exit that all the Marshall players were taking to get on their bus. And I saw this guy, limping out of Diddle Arena, essentially. So, I was nice. We won. I was I'm not going to be bitter to this guy. So I hold the door open for him. I was hey, man, I hope you get better soon. You guys are pretty good. It's hey, man, thanks. I appreciate that. You be careful going home. I was I'm only going home 30 minutes. You got a long ride back to West Virginia.
Yeah,
so,
through the mountains.
That was really respectful.
Well, that's good to know. Like I said, I don't really have, and with a lot of schools, to be perfectly honest, I don't think the players necessarily are the reasons I don't like teams. Now, I will say that I don't know if it was the Southern Miss championship game or if it was I think it might have been the Old Dominion fight game at Homecoming a couple years ago. But one set of players were just absolutely like taunting the students, which granted they probably deserved.
Probably.
But still, they were yelling at fans.
Yeah.
They were like cussing at fans. They were like flipping fans off. And I was just like, look, dude, I don't care what these fans are saying to you. You got a job to do. Go do the job. Like, don't react.
Yeah.
It's hard to
I mean,
do
and
that,
another
though.
thing, going back to middle, though, I remember when they would take, like, red towels and, like, stomp on them and that kind of stuff. And, I mean, that always kind of boils my blood.
Yeah, do not step on a towel in front of Jared.
Yeah.
So Jared, so you do not have any red towels in your home? Do you, like, use in, like, regular day-to-day? Like, you don't have any, like, red, like, shower towels?
No, red is not a color to use for a shower towel.
Why not?
Well, first off,
I feel like that would lead through everything if you watched it
Exactly.
wrong. You would have pink undershirts and everything.
if you
Jared,
go...
you wash your towels with undershirts? What's wrong with you, you monster?
No,
No, I don't.
no.
I'm just saying if someone were to do that.
No.
I'm not saying I ever wash my towel. It wouldn't even be the red that would bother me. It would be the amount of lint on that stuff.
First off, if you go back to the story of E.A. Diddle and the red towel, the towel bled through. So he would, like, have it in his hand and it'd be sweating, and the red would come through onto his hand. So it's not a probable thing to have, you know.
Dude, I've
or
had red
practical, I
towels
should
my
say.
whole life. I ain't never had a problem. But then again, I wash clothes not like a maniac.
Well,
Separate
you
my
do
colors.
look like the Red Hulk. Just saying.
The Red Hulk. This is like red. I'm actually. If you guys have never seen me. I'm actually just all red all the time.
Yes.
And not because I like have Native American heritage.
No, it's because he uses red towels.
Because I have exclusively red wash rags and bath towels, and I'm constantly
Go
staining
Tops.
red. That's right. I have a condition, Jake. You probably should see somebody about that. You have a really bad rash.
Yeah, that's not natural.
It's not
man.
healthy.
No,
You shouldn't do
no.
that. All that red dye.
That's not great at all.
So now, speaking of Marshall, that's who we're looking forward to on Saturday, going at Huntington. Jared, what are you looking for in this game?
I really, really, really hope that C.J. Burke and Elmore would miss a bunch of threes, because if they don't, then it could be a very long night. Like what happened to Old Dominion just last game is what happened to Marshall when we played them on the road last year. I don't know if you remember that, but we absolutely smoked them. Except we were able to finish in that game, unlike the Old Dominion game. I don't know if they're going to be able to just go through and just like punch them in the face and like run up the score on them in their own place again. I think they're going to remember that. Although, I mean, our guys are still going to remember how the conference title game ended last season. So, I mean, it's going to be good. But we need to play better three-point defense again and keep our foot on the gas for a full 40 minutes. That would be great.
Yeah, I mean, without Penova, they are not as strong inside. And like I say, I mean, I feel like a broken record at this point, right? You have Charles Bassey. They do not.
So I was kind of expecting to pee down my leg, but sorry.
Pee down. They're going to pee down their leg again. You know, what's funny? I say that on here, but I never write like if Western pees down their leg. Like I don't think that I have, anyways.
No, I've never seen that either. It's just a fun thing to say. Like writing it out, it just looks weird, but when you say it, it just makes you think a lot.
Thou shalt not write pee down your leg, but by thunder to say it is good. I don't know. I just hear. I guess I hear like other people on like the radio say pee down their leg, and it just like stuck with me.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard you say it for years, so it's just
I've
one of
never
those
heard
things.
anyone else say that except you, Jake. And
Yeah.
Really? Okay. Well, there you go. If I just etch it on my tombstone, then that's
Yes.
guess I peed down my leg.
Yep. Live your life. Don't pee down your
Don't
leg.
pee down your leg.
Yes, I've got one of those little scent things in here, and it freaks Jake out every time it goes off. He
The
jumps.
like the automated thing that just like does a really soft fart of good smell and stuff. Honest to God, I told them before we started recording, it sounded weird, and I was like, "Did your dog just like shart over here? Like, do we need to go clean something? Because that sounded terrible."
But my expectation for the Marshall game, I think Western should just go out there and just murder them. Not literally murder them, because that would be a
Figuratively
crime.
speaking.
Yes, but figuratively go out there and just clean the floor with them. I mean, if Charlotte did it and Western, thumped Charlotte, we should figuratively go out there and beat Marshall.
Yeah, I don't know.
It is rivalry kind of thing, but it's just I don't feel like it's that big of a deal.
I mean, Marshall's so up and down. Like I said, they go out and they beat Old Dominion by 3 on like a last second shot. Then they go and barely beat Charlotte. Let Charlotte hang 84 on them. And we held them to 50. I don't know what to expect. I guess it's kind of like what Jared said. If Elmore is hot from 3, I think we stand a good chance to lose. But as long as we can limit everybody else and kind of keep the one-man army being the only person scoring, then I think we stand a good chance to win. Again, I think it's all about rebounding in the inside. I honestly do. That offense moves best when we're working it to Bassey, or at least having Bassey drawing attention so that the outside shots can fall, like they did against Wisconsin, like they've done in a couple of games before. Devin literally just spent like 2 seconds doing like
I've got a rope in my hand, and I'm bad with playing with things as we talk. And so,
such a
and
fidget.
the little game you used to play as a kid where you would tie a rope,
strings,
and then you would do
yeah.
the thing and put somebody's hand through it and then do it. Yeah,
Jared, are you too young for that? Do you not remember the string thing?
No, I know what y'all are talking about.
Okay, good. I'm glad
They had it in Franklin, thank God.
Thank God. They didn't have anything else in Franklin.
Community.
No, they played with cans and socks, which was
Right.
really deadly.
The
but
stick in a hoop?
Yeah. No, socks and cans. They played mace.
Oh, God.
Bah. Actually, I heard a kid talk about that one time. They're like, yeah, we had a kid get in trouble because a kid brought a sock and a can of soup, or tomato soup, to school.
To, like, hurt kids
Yeah,
with.
to hurt people with. And I went, Jesus! I mean, like, Scottsville, like, they write notes and say they're going to bomb the school and, it gets canceled. But we never did that.
It's like that guy that said he was going to burn down Trinity if Jeff Brom didn't get hired.
Biggest
That's
troll,
like- yeah, I remember
biggest
that.
troll move ever, but he was...
And it closed the school down.
He closed it, but it wasn't even, time-wise, it was nowhere...
It was pretty... I mean, it's part of me understands, because
Yes.
I had a kid there.
But you can't say that.
Yeah, you can't... Oh, dude, you cannot. Yeah,
You
that's
cannot
so
say that.
stupid. Like, I heard today some guy, like, made a some radio, like, sports
Oh
guy
my gosh.
made a Holocaust joke
Yeah.
about, like, something with gas victims, and it's just
my
like,
God.
I don't care how funny you think the joke is.
No,
You're
no,
not allowed
no.
to say that.
No.
That's an immediate you get fired.
Yeah.
You just can't do that.
Yeah, I feel really bad about my Hitler jokes sometimes.
Yeah.
Like so.
You just
Yeah,
can't.
you got to thump somebody in the back of the head for that,
Yeah.
especially. But yeah, I cringe at Holocaust jokes.
It's just like,
It
dude, you just
doesn't
can't.
matter
You
how
just
far
can't.
ago it was. It's still a
No,
horrendous
yeah,
thing that happened.
you just can't. But it's just wild because that's why you gotta kind of like pay attention to the
Yes.
jokes that you make. It's
But we should go out there and destroy Marshall.
yes, destroy Marshall. And again, that's the thing. Like, I just am looking for this team to finally, more than like 1.5 games in a row against non-garbage challenges.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
Charlotte. Maybe next year, bud.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are bad. I'm sorry. You're supposed to have good recruits, so hopefully that's all well and good. But they're just bad. Like, I want 2 games in a row where we can actually put together a full, because like we noted earlier, the St. Mary's game, yes, we won, but we fell apart in the last 2 minutes. Like, I just want a consistent effort of a couple of wins in a row. We thought we were going to have that. I mean, we had that, St. Mary's and then Wisconsin and Charlotte. Like, we had that, and I just want it to continue because, let's be real here, you have to win the conference tournament. It's all about seeding at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, the BPI on ESPN has Western at a 53.5%.
Yeah, so toss up. I imagine this game's going to open with like Charlotte 2.5 point favorite probably.
I was going to say, it would probably be about like 2 to 3 or 4
You're talking home
point.
court and they're
Yeah,
about even.
yeah, that's what I'm expecting. But points-wise, I feel like Western should take it. I'm sorry. Of course, Marshall does have 80 points per game.
And Marshall can score, don't get me wrong, but they
Yeah.
also let Charlotte score 84, so.
Yeah, well,
not-
according to this, they've got 80 points per game, and against they have 80 points per game.
Yeah,
So
exactly. That says to say, like, I don't know. And I mean, they let Virginia score 100, which granted, Virginia's a really good team, but they don't score.
No, they're defensive minded. Yeah,
Right, like their whole
yeah.
thing is, I'm going to beat you 52-28. Like,
Yeah.
that's how they want to win.
Yes.
That's the most points UVA, like, that coach, Tony Bennett, has ever, like, scored in a game, that his teams have ever done.
No doubt.
I mean, they're real good,
Yeah,
but-
yeah,
Which is why they lose in the NCAA tournament.
That's one of the shows I listen to, like, every day.
UNBC, never forget.
Well, not only that, but how good is their Twitter, man?
Yes.
UNBC's Twitter's game is so strong.
Yes.
See, I wish Western could get somebody like of that caliber because not
They've
only
got somebody at that
like,
caliber.
is that would just draw in more people. I mean, if you're constantly roasting people like Wendy's, they had the national roasting day of their Twitter account that they would just take anyone that tweeted at them and would just tear their life apart in a tweet just because. I mean, that would be incredible. I don't know how
Oh
much
my
that dude
gosh.
could pay, but sign me up for that.
Dude, seriously though, because if you've got somebody, and maybe Western just isn't on the cutting edge of that yet.
No.
Maybe they haven't realized that yet.
The
Maybe
best thing
Todd
that
doesn't
Western
want it.
ever did, and it's not even that good, was when we lost to Maine and somebody tweeted that Sanford needed to be fired, and they quote tweeted it and said, "This is a Twitter account," and it got like retweeted by a few like big accounts or whatever through that. But I mean, that's not even the best one that they could have for something like that.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember laughing. It's like, this is a Twitter account, dude. What do you want?
Yes. Western does have an amazing guy at the head of the Twitter department. I mean, you gotta love it. It's just so
down
sad.
Middle and just
Come on out, we're taking pizzas to and I'm like, oh my gosh.
oh, now don't make fun of. Is that the thing where they went out to all the Greeks and like brought them food? Man, I will stand up for the Greek students. If you don't have the Greeks on your side in the student section, you do not have a student section.
Okay, I understand there are starving Greeks out there, but do you really have to take
No, they're
pizza
not.
out there?
They're not starving. Let's be real. They all have
Oh,
boat
God,
tons
no.
of money.
Yes, because they're in fraternities.
I was
but-
in the cheaper fraternity,
Yes.
and the dues still weren't like. And
God,
don't even
no.
start how much sororities cost. Like, some of those are over $1,000 a semester, like to stay in.
Yeah, there's no way. I'm sorry.
But
Goodness gracious.
oh yeah, dude. Like,
Great balls of fire.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, Greeks price out the competition.
Oh, I
like,
know. I
That's why
realize
SAEs, the
are
recent
this,
SAE,
rich
SAE,
dudes.
and Signu, and like the big dogs. Like, there's a reason they got $1 million houses.
Yep. Because they pay for them.
Correct. Well, that
Yes.
rich alum.
Yeah, well, I mean, I knew a few guys that were in the SAEs, and I was like, good God. And I knew at least one of them had money. Because his dad was superintendent of the Bowling Green school system, or the Warren County school system.
I will not comment on the SAEs. As an ATO, I will not comment. We can take that off the air if you like. SAEs, we'd love to have you listen, subscribe, and retweet.
I'm sure we do have SAEs. I don't have a problem with. I was not Greek, so I have no problem with it. I took
Yeah, I wasn't
ancient
either.
Greek in college. So
I didn't live on campus. I was a commuter.
Yep, I was a commuter too. Jared, sorry.
Ross, Jared, Matt, Fletch.
No,
Booger.
Ross probably didn't commute. He lived in Louisville, so
I have
Matt
not-
may have. Matt may have been
Yeah.
a commuter
I
because
have-
they lived in Plano, I think.
I was a commuter for a couple. Well, I mean, I technically was a commuter because I never lived on campus, but
Yeah.
I had an apartment like
Well, you had it. Well, I mean,
across the gravel
your
lot.
parents lived in Warren County though, so technically you could have commuted if you wanted.
Yeah, and I did for
Yeah.
like a year and a half before we got the apartment. And then when I
Yeah.
got the apartment, we could walk to class, which was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, so it's
And I didn't have to live in a dorm because dorms are not fun.
no, God no, dorms sucked. That's why I was glad I was a commuter. So yay, commuters!
So Ross, we've talked about basketball. Ross, you see, you did maybe
I
call him
did
Ross
it.
now.
I did
That's
it.
your
I'm sorry,
fault.
Jared. Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Whatever, I'm gonna call you Ross for the rest of the night, Jared. So that's how it's gonna happen
My
now.
last name is Rosdeutscher, so I mean,
Yeah,
Ross is-
good.
Rosdeutscher, there we go.
Devin smacked me and was like, "Dude, that's like
I did it too, but I was
it's your
trying to get
fault.
myself.
It's not your fault."
Yeah, I smacked him on the leg, and he looked at me like,
Like,
what in
did
the
I do?
hell?
Wait, surprise. Great. We said next we'll start a live.
Yes.
But no, so we've talked basketball. We've talked the foosball a little bit. Jared had a really good idea
Yes.
about the ranked for tonight to kind of talk about different like college campuses, either that we've been to or driven by that we've seen, and kind of rank them against like how gorgeous Western is.
Western is, by all accounts and purposes, the hill.
Yeah.
That is one of the things that you learn
It's iconic.
when you do orientation or whatever. They make you walk that hill, and I think it's just like a rite of passage. I wore boots at orientation.
Like master plan.
Yes. Well, I didn't do master plan because I was with the football team or whatever. So I didn't have
Oh
to do
yeah,
it.
yeah.
But orientation, like the spring before you started campus, it was like they're like, yeah, you got to walk up to the biology department. And I'm like, oh crap.
Now that's not even just top. That's like the backside.
Yeah, we didn't even get to take the bus. They made us walk. I was like, this is so overrated. You had the kids going to the psychology department, the sports, yada yada yada, and I was like, we got to go to the biology department on the other side of the hill.
In that ancient asbestos-filled building.
Yes, and it was yes. And I mean, like even one of my favorite classrooms, it was one of the big theater ones, but the hallway as you walked into it, the wall on the left side was caved in. So like it was like pushing in,
We're
and
talking
you're
old,
like,
old North Wing, right?
yes,
Yeah.
Thompson Complex North Wing.
I just remember
We would
do stuff in there
like
like
the Central Complex is where I had a lot of my science classes, and it probably hasn't changed. Like they're working on it
Central
now, but when
Complex.
I was there, like it was probably exactly the same as when my dad was there, and he was a college student. Like
Oh, it was
20, 30
probably
years.
it was probably the same as when I was there. Obviously,
Yeah.
I mean I was only a few years ahead of you, but and then they added was it Snell right
Snell,
behind
yeah.
that?
that Snell's nice.
Yeah,
Yes, Snell was nice. I'll give you that.
This is newer.
Yes.
And the Central was like meh, and the North Wing was like falling down, which is why they tore it down and are
Well,
building
North
new.
Wing before you two, they had a nice little catwalk that went over and came in on the second or third floor.
Of Central.
Yeah, of North Wings. North Wing of the first floor of Central. You walked straight across this concrete catwalk,
Oh, gotcha.
and then it went into the front. What street is that? It's on the other side of Chestnut. Is that whatever is in right on the other side?
well, probably Normal Street. Was it Normal?
It may have been, but the other side of it, yeah. You could walk right into like the second or third floor of North Wing, and it was like, and then they took it out, and I was like,
Well, Western has
What?
they always had a bunch of cool stuff. Like when you're coming out the fourth floor of Grice, like that's the trick, right? You go
Yeah.
in when it's cold, you walk into Grice, you don't go up those steps around the back end,
Yep.
you go up the elevator, which
Yep.
used to be scary till they fixed it when the
Yep.
kids got stuck in it, and then go over to FAC.
Speaking of the elevators, North Wing's elevator had a stop, so you could literally stop it. I did, and there's another switch there. You could turn the lights off.
That you didn't have.
I was
tab
like,
key.
dude, of course, college. I was like, man, if I had a girlfriend, I could just flip
Yeah.
this off.
It was what I always thought was funny
So
about
we're going to
North.
be here for a while.
Yep.
Yeah, might
Oh
as well.
darn, the elevator stopped.
Oh no! Yeah, you say that to
You want to do something?
like what?
By the
We're
way,
breaking up.
I've completely said that if there were pornos that were completely pun based, I would watch them because I think it's hilarious. Hello, I've got a package for you. Oh, Mr. UPS driver.
Dude, pun-based humor, I think, is the highest form of humor.
Yes,
I love puns.
Yes. So if anybody does that, I deserve part of that and put it into our patronage. Just saying.
Yeah, the Patreon account doesn't exist yet.
Yeah, we don't do that yet.
But no, campuses. All right, so I can only speak from experience. I have not been to a lot of campuses outside the state of Kentucky. I've only been to like the 3 flagships, like in this state, like 3 big state universities, and I've sort of halfway been on MTSU's one time. Went to a fencing tournament there once.
MTSU though.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
that's
not
not
in
the
the state, but
state.
just talking like campuses.
Campus. Okay.
They're like we said, the straight biddies. They're the back.
Okay, they're the
nobody
back
nobody
fat of-
claims them. So
Yeah.
we'll just go ahead and rank them worst because I just was in some crappy gymnasium. So
Yeah.
MTSU, pound sand. I will say after that, for the ones that I do not like on in Kentucky, is UK's campus. My
Okay.
problem with UK's campus, especially now, is it is so stinking huge and
Yeah.
spread out,
Yeah.
and nothing is together.
Yeah.
I went up there one time. This is years after I was there for freshman year. The commuter parking, since they built that football complex, is now like 2 miles away from Willie T. Library.
No kidding.
It's legit. Like if you have to walk from their gravel lot, it's it's like darn near 2 miles to get to. Not even like the north side of campus where all the science buildings stuff are.
Yeah.
Literally just to the southern end of campus where the library is.
You had a GPS stolen for there, wasn't that right?
I absolutely had a GPS and a. This is how long ago it was. Had a iPod Nano, like
That's what it
second
was.
version, because that was the thing I had.
I remember your truck got broke into, but I couldn't remember.
Literally, somebody
what else
opened the
they
back
got.
glass and like
Yes.
came in and stole some checks, and like I had to change my checking account. Yeah, so thanks, Lexington. Everybody says Louisville's. Yeah, never had a problem with crime when I was in Louisville, even though they have more crime. We'll get to that in a second.
Yes.
But yeah, so UK's campus, they got a couple pretty things. When I was there, it wasn't as pretty.
Yeah.
They had some crappy old dorms without air conditioning, which, by the way, that should be illegal. Oh my God, can you?
Ugh.
Yeah, so bad.
But you can't open the windows either because they're afraid you'll jump out.
Yeah, so
At least
these,
that's how it is at PFT.
So these had these were like only 3 floors, like you could open the windows in them, but not all the way. They had like this little bar like outside, so you could only like. It was essentially like living in old school New York. You had a radiator and like a window, and
Did
that's
they have
how you.
the child cage?
No child cages.
You've never. I mean, do you know what
I have seen the children cages where they like had them out over the window. If you haven't seen that, Google it because it's nightmarish.
It's on YouTube, but anyway.
Because they thought it would be good for the kids to get fresh air, and it's like, maybe wait till he can walk outside.
Yeah,
there's a hang him from a 40-story window.
Let's hang him out of a 40-story window and see how these cheap little brackets hold him in.
But yeah, UK's super generic. There's nothing really going on. Lexington's a pretty town, I guess, but it's just meh.
But the campus is so spread out.
It's so spread out.
That
It's annoying.
Somebody had to steal your GPS just to figure out how to get away.
That's darn right.
That's exactly what happened.
That's exactly what it was. Then I'll say, kind of coming off that, U of L, not that pretty. It is, again, super generic as far as the campus goes.
My experience with U of L campus is it's kind of like you're driving and you're like, man, this is ghetto. And then all of a sudden, boom, there's the campus.
Oh, dude, for sure.
And then you turn and you're like, wow, where did it go?
Yeah, seriously.
And you're like,
so, like,
what the?
When I was at U of L, I worked downtown 1 year, 2 years actually, and so I would go and I would drive from the southern end of campus north to go down, and I would park I used to work at the building on 4th Street Live, so we had a nice little park structure, and that's where I would go, and it was so funny because you go, oh, campus, everything's great, lock your doors, lock your doors, lock your doors, for like a mile and a half or so, and then you get into like Old Louisville and Pretty, and you're just like, and then downtown, you're like, how is this? And it's apparently really well known. Like all the kids from Louisville are like, oh yeah, dude, that's what it is. Don't go past whatever street.
Yep. I'll have to get Ross to ask him sometime about not Rosdeutscher. We'll have to get Ross.
Proper Ross, not this current Ross.
Yes. Yeah.
The real Ross.
The real Ross. Don't sell yourself short, Ross. You're the real Ross.
Well, the real Ross. Please stand up.
That's
Please
right.
Stand up.
That's
no, they. My thing with Louisville is, like you said, for that mile, you lock your doors and then you scrunch down so you don't get shot. Because there are more shootings in Louisville, I feel like, daily than, like, in Iraq.
I don't know if it's that bad.
No, it's not.
But
It
for
may
sure,
not be that bad.
we used to get. I mean, you know, like the little text message, like things. Like I used to get, and I've told you, like, well, somebody just got shot on campus. Somebody got stabbed on campus. Somebody, and it was always the Cardinal Street apartments. Like the Cardinal, like 3rd Street apartments, always had. I mean, they're like the Kentucky Street apartments.
Exactly.
Everybody's always getting busted for weed. There's somebody getting stabbed. Somebody getting in a fight. And it's just like, man. And even I had friends that went to U of L, you know, when I was an undergrad, and they were like, yeah, I mean, we just stay on this part of campus and it's fine, but like the rest of it, like we don't go over there.
Yeah,
It's like you see that dark area over there. Yeah. We never go over there.
Everything the light touches is safe, except for that little dark corner over there.
We don't go over there. That's the Cardinal Apartments. We don't do it. And so after that, I'll actually private school center.
Okay.
Real pretty campus.
Yeah, you went there for Governor's Scholars.
I did Governor's Scholars. Real pretty. Some of the older dorms when I was there.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have us. We were like 17-year-olds. They obviously didn't have us in the nice stuff. But like I stayed in Nevin, and let me tell you, that was a freshman boys dorm, and it smelled like it.
Oh, no doubt.
Like it smelled like a dirty urinal cake, and it was a terrible dorm. That's the first time I ever saw like, you know, they have just that like stupid curtain on like the little shower like stalls and like a one drain.
Yeah.
That everything goes, and so you don't want to be the last guy to get up in the morning because you don't want to have that drain, because then it was bad. A bunch of sweaty 17-year-old dude. Oh, it was bad. Is gross. Yeah. But other than that, Center's gorgeous.
Oh, I'm no doubt.
Danville's a gorgeous little town.
Yeah, Danville is a beautiful little town. I mean, it's just a nice little suburb of Lexington, really. I mean,
yeah. Well, I tell you what's great.
It's not straight biddies, but yeah,
it's not straight biddies. If you're ever in Danville, it's Burke's Bakery is like the place to go. Their gingerbread men are like world renowned. They ship them all over the world.
Wow.
Like Burke's Bakery, not a sponsor. If you want to be a sponsor, let us know.
Hey, Burke's Bakery.
We absolutely will talk even more amazing things about your bakery.
WKUReadout@gmail.com.
That's right.
But yeah.
And then obviously my favorite, WKU.
Yeah, and of course, yeah. Like Jake said, I kind of jumped in on my little roastings of each campus, but Eastern was one of mine. Eastern to me, and Sammy grumbling, Eastern to me is one of those campuses that just, from my experience, of course, it's probably been over 10 years since I've been there, but it's probably the same buildings that had been there like 20 years previous. Like, they only have one side of their football stadium. I mean, I know we did for a long time, but our side of the stadium was like ginormous compared to theirs.
It looks like Bowling Green High School. Yeah,
it looks like Bowling Green High School's side of the stadium. And there's not even like a little stadium on the other side for the
just
visitors.
Bleachers?
No, there's nothing there.
so they don't even have like visitor
on
bleachers?
their side. Yes. So if you're a visitor, you're just over there by yourself. Like, there's no trash talking.
It's fine. I'm just gonna go stand this field on this side.
Yes. I'm just gonna stand on this side. And the only thing I remember from their campus is their little mock PFT,
which was like a short little.
Yes, it was like, you know, the short school equivalent of PFT. It was like 4 or 5 stories tall. It wasn't anything major, and it was just like, they got to knock off PFT. Okay.
I imagine EKU being like, I don't know if you guys have ever been to like downtown Frankfurt, but they've built like where all the government buildings are, but like in the 60s and 70s, they built all these super duper ugly cement. Just they thought they were futuristic looking, but now they look like garbage. Like that's kind of how I assume EKU just looks.
Yeah.
And with drunk UK students passed out everywhere on the weekend.
Yeah, and the couch is burning.
Lots of couch burning.
But my thing is, I had to go to Frankfurt. I took my mother to Frankfurt she's a school teacher, so she was checking her retirement status and everything. And
which is a pain in the butt to deal with.
Yes. So I drove around and I ran into the state. It's not a state cemetery, but it's Frankfurt Cemetery. Like Daniel Boone's buried there.
They do have like the old part of Frankfurt is like really pretty.
Yes, I was playing Pokemon Go as I was waiting on her. I was going through the cemetery,
like
and so she calls me and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm playing Pokemon Go in a cemetery." And she's like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, I found Daniel Boone's grave." "No, you're gonna have to take me." So I had to go pick her up, go back.
To the cemetery.
Yes. But yeah, that's my only experiences with Eastern as far as in-state goes. Of course, you got all these other schools,
which apparently Jared knows about.
Well, Jared knows about the other Kentucky schools, but other conference schools, But yeah, I'll let Jared take it from here.
All right. Considering you guys said like your least favorite or university outside of Kentucky, like I got to go on the Tobacco Road on vacation back in August. I went to UNC, NC State, Duke, and all of those. And if I had to choose any of those, just kind of like it's my number 5. Like the worst one out of that, in my personal opinion, was the actual UNC in Chapel Hill. Like it's like UK is as far as being really spread out. They have this main road that goes straight through, and it's almost at a standstill. Like I mean, granted, I was there when all the freshmen were moving in, but like even some of the people there said that it's like that just about all the time, which is annoying. And of course, that like half of their campus was being renovated. I wanted to go in the Dean Smith Center just to say that I've been in there, but they were renovating it and the basketball museum they had. So UNC I didn't like. NC State offered me ice cream because they thought I was a freshman on campus trying to find where I was supposed to go. So I do respect them. But Duke was probably the nicest campus out of them as far as North Carolina goes. But going to Kentucky, all right. So this is fun. This is fun because, I mean, obviously Western is
he's so proud.
Every other, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, unbiasedly, Western is just so much better. Like, especially looking at Murray State. Like, I'm still a Murray State hater. I wish we had a rivalry with them in basketball still. Like, I'm old school enough that I just do not like Murray State. It's just a tiny campus, like, not much going on. I think they still have one side to their football stadium. They run their little horse around. And there's, like, you know how we say go Tops? They say shoes up, and they make, like, these little horseshoe symbols with their hands. That may be the most cringy thing I've ever seen in my life. It's terrible.
Shoes up. I love that.
It's embarrassing. Yeah,
with their little My Little
That's
Pony.
What they say. Like, I know plenty of people that go to Murray now that go to my church. I'm just like, really? Like, and they're just now starting to get where Western was when they added Duck. Because they finally got a building that's going to be sort of like their university center where they had like a Chick-fil-A and all this other stuff. So they're just now starting to get to where Western was like several years ago. But anyways, like that's just a tiny campus. If you like ag, I mean, sure, you could go there. I'm sure you'd have fun. But
because it's mostly fields.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with Murray's campus. I mean, their school...
It is close to land between the lakes. I will give them that. That would be nice.
Their school is actually built on a raancetrack, so...
Yeah.
He's just sitting there. Yeah.
Puns, he's got them.
Yes, they're the racers. It's a joke. But anyway, no. I think the greatest thing for me from Murray State is when they played Kentucky. Some of the Murray State fans bought the horse costume.
That was Kentucky fans, right? Like
was it Kentucky?
Yeah,
fans?
they were like making fun of them. Yeah.
And they actually got to go down on the field.
Yeah, and like people were reporting,
oh my God.
and like national media were reporting it as like this is like look how sad Murray State's mascot is. It's like the two dudes in the horse costume. Then Murray had to get on the horn and be like, no, that's not our actual mascot. It's like, look guys, when you
but
have
the
to
thing
do
is,
it,
no one cares because it's Murray State. That's
right,
what
exactly.
I love so much about it. They had a dorm explode for God's sake. They had a dorm explode. It's a miracle that didn't happen when there were students there. That would have killed I don't know how many people.
I think I remember
blessing.
That.
It happened during the summer, but I mean, yeah, Murray State. I just leave them over in Western Kentucky, but Other than that, I've been to Kentucky Wesleyan. I mean, that's up in Owensboro. It's a nice little college. It and Brescia are over in Owensboro. I mean, it's just like what you would expect. I saw like their gym. It's called the Sports Center. They're like the Purple Panther. That's where Ray Harper came from. I think the court is actually named after him now because he won them a bunch of D2 or D3, whatever they are, like championships back in the day. So, and also like as far as like the whole UK and U of L goes, I've been to both of those, and I definitely echo what you say about both of them because. As far as Louisville goes, I mean, I did not feel safe driving through some of the parts of that because, and especially like if you had to walk too, I mean,
nope,
that could be very sketch. Forget that. I'll just take my chances. I'll just stay at home.
Well, you know what's funny too is when I was there, they had the like emergency buttons you can hit and like call the cops.
Oh yeah, like the little blue tower things.
Yeah, well, most of theirs didn't work. So like there was one in our parking lot. So we used to park behind the speed school, which is a lovely building. That part of campus is really pretty, like the seal and all that.
Yeah.
But behind the thing, it was like there's one in this giant parking lot that backs up to railroad tracks, of course, with this sketch underpass you have to walk through so if you have like a night class that gets out, like I had one that got out like 8:30. And so like we would all like huddle together and like walk to our cars because
got a pretty mouth, boy.
Yeah, dude, it was so sketch. It was so sketch. And like I said,
one of the best landmarks that Louisville even had was the water tanks that were off of 65 as you're going north, and then there's that curve that they had for ages, but they had to eventually tear down. So I mean, that's kind of a good indication.
The silos there,
silos, the sketchy looking silos,
yeah. They were. I will admit, I agree with Jared. They were cool back in the day.
Because they're different.
Silos. Yeah,
and they're right off the interstate. And you're like, oh, Louisville.
Yes,
we're here. Great, we made it to 133.
And I'm pretty sure that somebody had a UK billboard put up like right next to those, didn't they?
I have no idea. I definitely know.
I don't really remember that either.
I think, but I thought I remembered that, but that's still the funniest thing
If
ever.
they didn't, they should have. It's an awesome troll move.
Oh my god, yes.
Can we put up some billboards in like Richmond?
But I mean, as far as Kentucky goes, I mean that was the most recent college I've been to in the state. It's not Western, and golly, I mean it is so spread out. I couldn't imagine having to park like miles from where you're supposed to be at and have to either just like have a bike with you or just walk or just try to do something to try to get to where you need to be at. Like they're like the hub of their campus, like where that main library is, where all their eating places are, and where a lot of the dorms are. Like, I mean, that was kind of nice. Like, I saw what the inside of one of their dorms looks like. It is really nice dorms. I mean, you basically have, like, your own private room, essentially. It's got carpet and everything, which is a lot better than what we got. But, I mean, other than that, like, I would rather take a giant hill that I have to walk up every single day that looks beautiful. Everything's within, like, a 10 to 15-minute walk. I will gladly, and always fight for Western to be the most beautiful campus, because it is.
Well, I mean, and it routinely wins, like... when these like national reviews like do pretty campuses, it routinely places.
Yeah.
Because it's different, it's distinct, it's got good architecture. And like when I was on campus and worked, and Dad worked for facilities forever, like I know a lot of the like ground screen people that like kept it up and who like did the horticulture and like did the flowers and stuff, and they're excellent. Like it's just really well done. It's put together well, it's maintained well. And we got a few decrepit old buildings like Gordon Wilson, but other than that.
I mean, they are renovating a lot of the things that needed to be fixed, especially over in Thompson. That was one of my main gripes. I mean,
they tore down.
It still looked like the 1970s in there, so I mean, it's good that they've been fixing all of that for sure.
My favorite,
and especially once you're on campus for a while and you kind of get used to like being like a junior and senior and stuff. You know all the shortcuts between buildings, like you said, going up on Grice and then going over to FAC and stuff like that, which helps a lot. Like the fastest, like I remember that it was when I had astronomy. That I was in PS2 and I had to go to Hardin Planetarium at 6. It was at like 5:54, I think, and I had to be there because it was like the last. You have to go to a certain amount of like the planetarium shows.
Like you have to do like that for your lab, essentially.
So I was booking it, and I actually made it on time. Like I think that's the fastest I've ever gone from one side of campus to the other, and I felt like I was dying through at least the first 15 minutes of the planetarium show, but. I mean, you just live and learn. You just see what works, what doesn't, and then just kind of figure it out and go from there.
I definitely fell asleep in those.
I never had to go to those. I never did
astrology. I fell asleep after that because I felt
astronomy, astrology, whatever it is.
They're both about as useful.
Yeah, I mean, I'm Gemini. I think I learned from that class. But anyway, no, I never had to take astronomy or whatever. I never
My
had
science
to.
classes were a joke. I was a music major, so I got out of like the chemistry and
Same here.
biology.
I took
physics
astronomy.
and acoustics, astronomy.
See, that's
and
all I
think
took.
Yeah. Dude,
That was my entire life.
I took ag, and I took...
That's such bullshit.
It's so good. I took ag, and I took astronomy. And what was great was you have to have a science with a lab. That's one thing. You have to have a lab. Well, in astronomy, shout out to Bo Husky. I don't know if he's still teaching, but that man was...
Oh, I remember Husky.
Yeah, had like
Yes.
his hair always stood up. He looked like a mad
Yes.
scientist. Super sharp dude.
Yeah.
But the class, not super exciting.
No.
But man, the lab, you didn't have to stay after or go to a separate thing like biology and chemistry. You didn't have to go.
Yeah.
You would just do outside projects like go to the planetarium, draw the phases of the moon. And I had the inside loop on it, and they were like, "Hey, if you want to get it knocked out in the class, take Bo Husky."
Yeah.
Some of the best advice I ever got.
Yeah,
It was awesome.
Let me tell you the funniest thing about campus. I'll kind of wrap it up real quick here.
Yeah.
For Western's football team, when they did camp every year, the trainers had one person stay in the dorm. Of course, I was the only dude for several years, but I was staying in Barnes, and it was my first year in the dorms. Go to take a shower, and first night I had to take a cold shower. Turned it on hot. It's cold as ice, dude. I was about -1 inch, but anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, so little turtle, yeah. But anyway, so the second night I get there, and I'm like, I'm not taking another cold shower. I have got to figure this out. Of course, I'm standing there in a towel, and I'm thinking, okay, Jake's dad is a plumber here. Let me try something. So instead of turning it to hot, I turned it to cold. I had the hottest shower I've ever had in my entire life. And I was like, yes, that is what it is. It's, yeah.
Jake's dad.
Jake's dad works here. Shout out to Joe. But I think we're going to wrap it up tonight.
Can I say one last thing really fast? This is breaking news. The New York Jets just hired Adam Gase as their head coach. And I would like to say, as a Dolphins fan, I hope they enjoy every second of that man. If he does like he did in Miami, they're going to be throwing screen passes on 3rd and 15 that don't do anything, and they will hopefully be the next subpar team of the AFC. So
I mean, the Jets are pretty bad anyways. How many wins do they have this year? Like 3?
Yeah, I don't even know how many
like
wins.
Yeah, they're bad.
Yeah,
They're real bad.
the Bears.
I just had to get that parting shot in there to the Jets.
to Jets.
Yeah, I actually had it had come across my phone before, but I wasn't going to say anything because I was like, who cares about the Jets?
Also, what about Kingsbury getting hired by the Cardinals?
Oh my gosh.
It's like, yeah, you
yes.
can't win in college. Just shove him over to the NFL. That'll work well.
That'll work. That's completely worth it. But Western plays Marshall Saturday night at 7 Eastern, 6 Pacific. Central. Yeah, that's how that time zone works.
That's absolutely how that
We're
works.
in the Pac-12 now.
Yes, we're in the Pac.
We'd be fine in the Pac-12.
So we're going to be playing at Huntington, West Virginia. What is that on? Is it CBS or what?
CBS Sports.
CBS Sports Network.
Yeah.
I don't get
good
it,
luck,
so
yeah.
probably not going to be able to watch it. But check the game out. Follow the Towel Rack at Towel Rack WKU. Follow Red Out. Like and subscribe for more stuff. And as always, go Tops.
Go Tops.
Go Tops.